We started to study outside of healthcare what made any business great, because we couldn't find everything we thought we needed within healthcare. So we started to look, what makes any employer where you want to come and work, where you attract people, and those that are there like being there and they want to stay, they want to give their all. What about customers of any sort? What makes them choose one store, one restaurant over another? What makes that happen? And so when we realized that things were just getting worse and we needed to just start, even though we might not have it all figured out, the first thing we decided to do was put together employee teams. That came out of the work of John Kotter out of Harvard. He has been researching for more than 3 decades what makes any organization be able to make sweeping transformational change. And 70% of the time, his research shows it fails. So in the 30% of the time where it succeeds, what makes the difference? And one of those key things that he found that makes a difference is to create a volunteer army. And that volunteer army is a group of people, not your usual hierarchy of departments that report to departments and, you know, a hierarchy and an org chart. We're talking about teams of people that are engaged and empowered to make things happen. And so we decided to create that, and we decided to create it with employees. We knew that if we were going to do these big sweeping things, we were outnumbered as leaders and we couldn't do it alone, and our employees could help us do that. So we took these 2 years of research solutions and we put them in the hands of these employee teams, and we said, can you make this work here? We called it the CASE method, copy and steal everything. But make it yours and make it better is what we asked them to do. Can you make this ours and make it better? It came from outside of healthcare maybe, but make it ours and make it better. Can you make it work here? And it did. Well, not everything worked perfectly. There were things that worked exactly like we thought they might, and the employees made that happen. There were some things where they had to tweak it a fair bit, make it ours, make it better. And there were other things that they had to just throw out. But along the way, over a very short period of time, things started to change dramatically. We went from 324 employees to 900, from 17 active staff physicians to 55, from parts of our building being closed or rented out to others, to overusing every square inch of our space, building a 40,000 square foot medical office, building a 30,000 square foot rehab facility, taking over an old Air Force Base hospital 20 miles down the road, adding 20 more inpatient beds. Things changed dramatically. We were losing millions of dollars, now we're making millions of dollars. Patients started coming back and choosing us. Our market share went up 9% on the inpatient, 12% on the outpatient. And in finance, we measure that by 0.25% increases are considered really good progress. And we were moving it by full percentage points up to 9 and 12 percentage points. It was just amazing. Solutions in the hands of these employees' teams changed our organization and made sure that our community had this amazing healthcare system for their use. Created something we call a structure and a framework, and the structure is really those employee-driven teams. And it looks something like this. There's a steering team. That was our 2-year team that researched everything. Well, that was our steering team and guiding team to kind of oversee our efforts. But then there was all these employee teams. And what we know now is that that looks a little different everywhere we go. We're helping organizations implement the structure and the framework that we've worked on over these years to deliver great results and changes, but we know that this structure looks a little different everywhere we go, and that's one of the things that we've learned. But what hasn't changed about that is it truly is employee-driven. There's some leader-led kind of initiatives, and the only reason we get leaders involved in is if we put employees in a room and gave them a big task to do, they might get slowed down because they don't know how the bureaucracy works to get things done. So we give them a leader to help guide that process. But otherwise, it's very employee populated and driven. The other thing we developed was the framework, and the framework is really that package. What is it that we really did that got the results? And the thing that we've learned about that is that, again, it's different everywhere we go. The framework is the framework, and the solutions are the solutions that we put in the hands of the employees, and some are in the hands of leaders. But what we know about that is not every organization needs every solution, and they need them in different orders or sequencing.